Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff Wagner. The COVID-19 fall surge is upon us here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And with colder, tougher months ahead, that means more adjustments to our everyday lives. WCCO's Erin Hassanzadeh explains the lifestyle changes we can all recommit to that can save lives.
Pandemic fatigue is setting in, and the numbers reflect that. COVID-19 cases and deaths continue to rise in Minnesota.
It's clearly worse.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. Frank Rame says our positivity rate is still hovering at or above the 5% threshold despite increased testing, which indicates community spread.
There's where the discipline comes in.
For months, people have worked hard to limit themselves, but the virus is working harder. So what can we do?
People don't need to drive themselves crazy on this. What you can develop is your own bubble.
Dr. Rame says if you are going to venture out, do it with a small and consistent group.
So you find another family that's also very careful, that their kids like your kids, and then you socialize within that bubble.
And as you think about indoor activities this season, remember,
The hazard of it depends on crowding, ventilation, and size of the space.
As it gets colder.
Dr. Michael Osterholm from the University of Minnesota says now is not the time to let up.
We're still largely in the third, maybe the top of the fourth inning with this virus.
Dr. Osterholm says recent outbreaks in workplaces and teen sporting events indicate returning to life as we knew it has consequences. And there's plenty of temptation to come this year, including holidays.
The tradition is to come together. If you really love your family this year, that's what you won't do. But this is our COVID year, and we have just got to get on with understanding that.
It's also helpful to distinguish symptoms heading into cold and flu season. If you have the flu, it comes on fast and often feels like you got hit by a truck. COVID-19 can creep up with mild or no symptoms at first. Loss of taste and or smell and shortness of breath are the noticeable differences. And a common cold typically doesn't have a fever over 100.5. If you can't tell the difference, call a triage nurse. They can help.
Even if you have COVID, if you're doing really well, we don't want you in our clinics.
So the expert advice, get your flu shot and stay in your bubble.
Every little bit helps, and most importantly, that little bit could be the life that you save.
Erin Hassanzadeh, WCCO 4 News.
Dr. Osterholm says he thinks the next 6 to 12 weeks will be the worst we've seen since the start of the pandemic, and that the numbers are going to surpass the peaks we saw midsummer.